The Colts needed to win over the Jaguars in Week 18 to get into the playoffs. They couldn't get it done. Carson Wentz was terrible, turning the ball over twice in the second half. Would Wentz still be in Indianapolis if that game had gone differently? I talked with Colts GM Chris Ballard on that specific topic.
To be right now, Carson Wentz is still on your team right now if you guys win that game, right?
I don't know. I think we would have still had some I think we still would have had some hard discussions. Just the way we played down the stretch. And we knew we needed to make some improvements in that area. And look, the one thing I think Jim and I and Frank, we're all pretty good at is like when we know something's not a good fit, don't just try to justify it. Let's move forward. We all know we're going to get egg on our face. That is what it is. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's about doing the right thing for the organization. So I think even if we would have ended up in the playoffs, we would have had some hard discussions going forward.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate the candor and
it's
the
amazing.
entire interview, as with all of them from yesterday. Joe Shane, Kevin Colbert, Chris Ballard, George Payton, all will be available at PFT. But you usually don't hear that because they were done.
Totally
with Carson
done.
Wentz.
That's what they're telling you right there.
Done.
I mean,
and even if they had made it to the playoffs, they were done. I am stunned Frank Reich didn't get fired. And I was tempted to get into it with Chris yesterday. How long did it take you to convince Jim Irsay to not fire Frank Reich? Because Reich was the champion of Carson Wentz. He's the reason Wentz was there. He vouched for Carson Wentz,
right.
And it blew up on the entire franchise. The whole, and it feels like ancient history now. The whole vaccination thing, that rubbed Irsay the wrong way. Irsay did those videos after the season ended, standing outside of his private jet, sitting inside of his private jet. He was beside himself after what happened last year. But even if they'd won that game and made it to the playoffs, Wentz may still have been gone. Amazing.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
That they could have made it to the playoffs and still thrown him overboard.
Yeah. I mean, it's made it life, I'm sure, dicey on Frank Reich. But, yeah, I think he's shown enough that he's a pretty damn good coach. And the fact that he's, again, I think a good human and kind of treats people the right way, maybe that gives him the benefit of the doubt. But you don't. And I also think Ballard and company, I'm sure, were on board to this to a degree. So that's why they couldn't probably put it all on Frank Reich. They knew they needed a quarterback. It was definitely one of the better options out there for them last year. But, yeah, of course, they were following Frank Reich's lead to your point, no doubt. I mean, to me, it's shocking. Yeah, down the stretch, it wasn't good. We know that. The last two games, they weren't good. The Raiders, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Raiders game, as we talked about, he had COVID that week, which was in part of this issue to begin with. So, yeah, they traded assets to get him. They paid him all this money when things were controversial for this player. And he didn't step up to get vaccinated, and it cost them. Before that, the Patriots game. Remember that game on the Saturday night? It was 5 for 7. He was trying to throw interceptions and lose the game down the stretch. That was questionable. I know he had that Cardinals game where he had a big play and some plays that helped them win that game. But, yeah, in big moments is when he played his worst. That's pretty much what there is to it. But I think the amazing thing that you and I are, floored by is – this is going beyond football in the field. This is, to me, they were like, no way, we don't like this guy, this human. He's not going to be in our locker room. We don't want him leading our team. This goes way beyond it to me with the message they're sending out. I don't know if you feel that way as well.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And look, this all gets back to the things that we consistently hear about Carson Wentz, the lack of leadership skills, the refusal to take good, hard coaching. Right. The bad decisions made during games, which manifest the failure to respond to coaching, whether it's not getting through or he's ignoring the coaching.
Yeah.
He continues to do dumb things. He continues to treat random routine plays like the last play of the season with everything riding on it, and you got nothing to lose, so I may as well throw the ball left-handed from my end zone because what's the worst thing that can happen at this point? That's the problem with Carson Wentz, and they just got to the point where they realized after 1 year, and the analogy I used at the time was he felt like he was the winner last year. He got out of Philadelphia because he was given safe harbor with a family member in Indianapolis. Frank Reich will be. Hey, Frank understands me.
Yeah.
Forget those folks in Philadelphia.
Right.
They were
they
wrong.
Screwed me
I'm
over.
right.
They're wrong.
I'm right. They're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there's hope for him in Washington. Unless there's no hope for him at all in any NFL city, this is it for him. And I know enough about Ron Rivera to know he's probably already told him in very, very candid, profane terms what is riding on his ability to take coaching, on his ability to be a better leader or any leader. And he's still, people are capable of changing and developing and maturing and acquiring new skills. And the thing about Carson Wentz that's always driven me crazy, the hard parts of the job he can do. He screws up on the easy parts.
Yeah, right.
If he could just master the easy parts, he'd be really good.
Yeah, it's a fair way to say it because he does have the skill. He's got skills that I know over the last 4 years, you and I have watched games and text or whatever, and we're watching them together and we're going, wow, I mean, holy crap, what a play. Damn, he's got something to bring. But you're right. It could also be like, wait, the pocket's perfectly clean and that guy's double covered. And you just said, I'm going to throw it. Screw it. Like what? I mean, there's a lot of that. Or just the crazy interception, shovel passes or whatever else. It's just I think it's a little all over the place from that standpoint. And then like we're talking about, I think when you add in then some of the personal complaints, I think it was a double whammy. And the Colts just said, nope, we've had enough and we don't want to deal with you anymore.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.